Welcome to the Uplift, where we are uplifting our lives, uplifting each other, and uplifting our communities together. Thank you for joining myself, Sai Herrera, and Tessa Savala here, two women, two attorneys, doing it our way, and inviting you here each week to share in on the stories, advice, and life lessons we've picked up along our journeys that keep us uplifted, and that will hopefully do the very same thing for you. Now buckle in and let's get ready to be uplifted.
Hello, everyone. As always, I am Tessa, and I am joined by the ray of sunshine, best human on earth, Sai.
No, that's you, Tessa. So happy to be in your company, as always.
Me too. What a treat it is every time we get together.
Yes.
I have been thinking in this world that we live in. I'm trying to not use negative words because I'm trying to be positive about the situation. But I feel as though we could all gain a lot of uplift if we started celebrating our weird, crazy little wins, right? Whether it's you folded the laundry right when it came out of the dryer, or I got up this morning, or I got the promotion I wanted, right? Like it could be anything. You filled up your car before the light came on.
Yes.
There are so many.
You got gas when it was cheap. Yes.
Yes. Right? Like your favorite, I don't know, milk was on sale when it's usually really expensive. Whatever it might be. I don't think we as society, I know I don't, do a good enough job of celebrating those little wins that just keep us going from day to day. Because I feel like in this kind of puritanical society, it is people who get married, people who have the big house and the fancy cars, and that's all that we celebrate. We don't celebrate people who are loving their children or loving their partners or loving themselves or
growing,
just surviving, growing,
healing.
Oh my God. That reminds me of the quote from President Obama yesterday, where he said something to the effect of 80% of the problems in the world are because of old men. And I'm like, huh, fascinating. I thought that was just me.
Oh, so much there.
Right? Like, as we always say, who made up these rules?
Yes,
but I feel like even
he named it.
when we recognize that we were not participants in making up these rules,
just that,
and we know it, and we try our best to shed them. It is hard because it is what is valued in society, and I wish we were valuing more like just having a good day, having a slow moment, overcoming something that was horribly challenging for ourselves.
Yes, letting yourself feel your feelings is a win. Oh my God.
Oh my God, yes.
Having a connection to yourself, giving yourself, like, literally resting is such a huge win. Like, I feel so proud of myself for literally just resting over the last year. Like, I've done some reflection, and I think that's a big part of this question is like, how and when do we make time, literally even just to reflect on our wins? Because you can't celebrate them if you don't even reflect and really look back on them, right? So what do you do, Tessa, to even make time, or what could we do? Let's talk about what we could do or what we do now to like even find the wins, right? To reflect.
I find that journaling is very helpful to me, right? Like whether it is I'm having issues with somebody that I work with and I can't figure out what's going on, but I notice that when you journal, I see the patterns in it. And I've started journaling to include like what I'm feeling and how I'm feeling, what things occurred that day, what I viewed as accomplishments that day. And I'm learning that putting pen to paper or fingertips to keyboards and seeing, and then also looking back on it, right? Like reviewing what happened that week or that month or that previous day, because I think we need that reminder to say, oh, look, on Tuesday, I was super happy because I worked from home and I was able to also do
Mm.
laundry as opposed to just sit at a desk.
Mm, yes. And how do you incorporate, like, first of all, yes, I love the journaling thing. I think it's a genius way. And, I think there's been plenty of studies to show us that it actually is scientifically effective
Oh,
for
fun.
your health and wellness. Yes, like it's very, very good for you. But I love the idea also of like making time to reflect back on those things too, because I think that's one of the hardest problem or the like, the biggest challenge I face sometimes is I started taking like lots of notes in my work, and I did start journaling actually too. There's this really great app. I think it's called Zinnia or something. And you can like make multiple notebooks, which is really good for me and my ADHD and like wanting to like put everything somewhere, and
Yeah.
organize it. And so it has been really helpful. But like even today, like, and this is just, like me thinking about how everyone is so different. Like for me today, like I randomly, very randomly, came across some photos from a summit that I went to literally 6 years ago. And I was like so inspired because I was like, I take pictures of all the, the presentation slides that I'm really, moved by and, all of the big moments at the summits, right? And so I went through those this morning again, randomly. Like this is just Google being like, hey, you did this 6 years ago. And I'm like, oh, cool. Interesting. And, it was, I mean, I can't tell you how like very, very, again, random it was, but like also impactful just to like reflect back on what I was thinking back then, how it has transformed today, how it's actually like literally a cornerstone of the work that I'm doing today. Like there was just so much there that I was inspired by, and reminded of that it really, really like moved me in terms of the power of reflection and looking back. And so my question to you is like, how do I make this maybe less random and more intentional? Yeah.
I, I'm going to say a word that I don't wish to impose on other people. It works for me. It is a
Mhm.
little bit neurotic.
Mhm.
I am a list maker.
Mm.
And
Love a
so,
list.
so
Yes.
like there could be daily lists, there could be lists for like goals around your house. But when it comes to reflection, I make a list to like go back and clean out my documents or my
Mhm.
files. I try to do it twice a year. And I think at that time, it's a good
Okay.
time for me to do reflection because a journal is easy to go through on like a almost daily basis, right? Because it's
Mhm.
in front of you. But when it comes to things that have occurred in the past that you probably have one pagers from or other information,
Mhm.
that helps. And I've noticed when it comes to pictures on my phone, I have
Mhm.
started to try to create more albums, and just seeing that
Mm.
picture again to move it helps me remember that moment.
Yes, 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 yes. And for me, I think like what I heard you say too was in there that you basically have, in whichever way you organize yourself to do it, you have essentially set up some like seasonality to your reflection, which I think can be really powerful. And so, for me, I feel like, we are creatures of the season, even
Yes.
if we are disconnected, at various levels, like we can always reconnect back to that. So one of the things that I think it was like my gynecologist told me was like, okay, so every year around ACL, come back and see me. And I was like, okay. And I still remember that because it was like such a seasonal thing where I was like, okay, that's gonna be the time when I make my appointment. And like I didn't forget it. It's so weird, but it worked for me because it was tied to something that was, seasonal, something that comes around every year, something that I, always notice or whatever. So I was thinking that, like, maybe how do we incorporate our self reflections into our seasons on the large scale? And then, like you said, on the day to day scale, like maybe, you know, you make time for yourself at the end of the week to really have some intention on looking back on your week. I have found that that is really powerful for me. On Fridays, I have really tried to be more intentional about um, making that space up space and a day that I can look back on, what I wanted to accomplish for the week and make goals for the next week. And just having like a place and a time that I kind of, work to protect against the random, chaos of the world. That has been so powerful for me actually. And even in my check-ins with my team, I do a weekly check-in with my direct reports. I actually added into our check-in template a space for wins. And that's, every week we just like, after we talk about all the work and all of the tasks and all of the projects and the updates, so we also say like, okay, let's talk about the wins. Like what's going well? What have you accomplished? What feels good? What's going right? We talk about challenges and all of that too, but I feel like it's so important because we never ever used to reflect. We always used to just go, 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 go. And even in that setting, like it's just so powerful, as a team to be like, wow, we put in all this effort and it paid off and it was great and something good came of it, right?
I think you highlight something so important. First, to make the time, to protect the time, but also the need to hear about the wins. How genius, right? Because I think those wins usually support our purpose. And sometimes it's so easy to forget about our purpose, whether it's in business or our relationships or with ourselves.
Yeah.
And I don't think beating ourselves up is some kind of like strange puritanical ritual. It's helpful for us to want to get more wins and follow our purpose, but seeing those milestone steps, and they don't have to be big, they can be tiny little wins.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
work towards your purpose. So important to make a team feel invested, but also for yourself to like give you that energy to want to continue on your path or see that you need to, pivot on your path.
Yeah, I feel like a really powerful thing could be right now for us to just model this wonderful tactic. And I wonder if we can both reflect back on, I don't know, the last week or month or really wherever we feel like, and just maybe share one thing that we consider a win for ourselves, whether it be personal or professional or what have you, just anything.
I will confess this is super easy for me because I did something yesterday, which was Friday, that I have never, ever, ever in my working life done. I realized that I just needed a day of totally shut down, not to do anything else, not to focus on work, not to do. So I declared it a pug day because I have pugs. Pugs only existed like they were bred thousands of years ago to be companions.
Yes.
So I didn't read books. I didn't do anything. I just napped with the pugs. When the pugs were napping, I napped. When the pugs were awake and wanted to go outside, I went outside.
Yes.
And so I had a pug day, and I've never done it before. And
oh my God, it's a thing now.
Yeah, it's a thing, but also like I did not realize how like mentally restorative it would be, how physically restorative it would be. I was just like, whoa.
Yes. How powerful that can be. That's beautiful. I love to hear it. And I also feel like it's so, empowering to share the fruits of that. And, I've shared before that like rest has been transformative for me. And I've been hearing it come up from different people in different ways. Like I've heard people call it like, a veg day, like people just vegging out, veg in bed. I've heard people say like it's a rot day. They're just going to rot on the couch and like embrace that, like I think, there's something interesting about like we're finding language to almost like, I don't know, reclaim the rest. And so I love that you have a pug day because it brings you joy and it's like your pugs aren't stressed out, I'm assuming. Like, I think that
very low stress dogs. Yes.
And so I feel like that's wonderful. It's like they're your inspiration and you're just like following their lead. I love it.
But if I think about it now, as you started talking about it, I realize that pugs do such a better job of just following, and all dogs and animals, their instincts and what
Yeah.
they need, right?
Yes.
They don't
Yes.
think, oh, I need to, move around or pick up my toys or whatever. They're just like, all right, it's nap time for me.
Yeah. And I love that we are talking about like, I feel like there's, we've talked about the self-care, the self-love, and, all of the things that we can do to get closer and closer to what we need there for ourselves. But even when we, like make it something that's so relatable, I feel like there can still be a sense of overwhelm, because it feels like you have to do, you
Oh,
know?
you nailed it. Yes.
Like you're like, okay, well, what do I need to do? Like, what activity can I do? What hobby do I need to do? What kind of, we've talked about like the skin regimen and it's like, for some people that truly is like life giving. Like they are
Yep.
getting their life. Like they're feeling rested, relaxed, and amazing after doing these things. But I just think about the people who like are exhausted. and
More than we'll admit, I'm certain.
and also it's like I feel like all of us have also been there. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so it's not even like these people are exhausted, these people are active. It's like there are times when like we have energy and we want to do things that bring us joy and bring us life, but there are also times where it's like you don't even have the energy to do that.
Yep.
You just literally are drained and you're just here like trying to get through the day and not knowing that like the answer is the opposite of what you're trying to do. You're trying to work your way out of a thing, but like doing nothing is the new everything, I always say. Like
Do
doing
you,
nothing is
it is. Do you think it's a
great.
process to get to the point that
Yes.
doing nothing is everything?
Absolutely. Oh, absolutely. Yes. Like, I mean, I think the process, at least in my experience, has been trying to unlearn all of the programming around, this idea that my worth is tied to my productivity.
Oh, yes.
And, we have had a really, I mean, we've had a very sordid history in this country around work and labor, obviously. And I think that, when we mention puritanical values, it's like literally the work ethic came from there. And it's very dramatic, it's very drastic. And, it's hard for me to like just put down the whole idea of work. That's not what I'm doing. I think that it's wonderful for us to support each other and to keep advancing, our quality of life together if that's what we're doing with our work. But I think just like the pugs, just like the lions, just like the children, like they work themselves up and they do all the things and they run around, they zoom, they do gymnastics, like they're doing all the things and then they knock out also. And like
Yeah.
they nap in the middle of the day and they lay in the sun and they just exist, and I think that's such a beautiful thing that we have been disconnected from on purpose, right? Like capitalism is on purpose. And so I feel like we really have to be intentional. The process that you mentioned has to be first an awakening and an acknowledgement of like, these are the forces that be, these are the things that have had influence on me, these are the things that I'm carrying, and to find them in yourself and then be intentional about whether or not you want to continue to carry those beliefs, right? Because for me, I didn't think that I was like going through the world telling people that like I know I'm not worthy unless I produce this. Like it wasn't conscious. Like it's not a thing that like, I'm just like, oh, I can't wait until I can prove my worth. Like it was something that was really, really hidden. And the more and more you are separated from your body, like if your mind and your body and spirit are not connected, if you're not integrated in those ways, it's really difficult to know that that's even happening. I mean, you're just going through life thinking that you're doing your best, and you are. And then one day you probably, I mean, in my experience anyways, you just start to feel it. You start to feel the exhaustion. And that's why I think, that phase, that person came to my mind, that experience came to my mind because I had that lived experience where I just felt so drained and I was like, I can't do this anymore. I don't even like, I don't know what's going on, but like, I don't feel good. And I don't know if I can just keep going at the rate that I'm going. And so, sometimes your body will let you know.
Oh
And
yeah.
yeah, and that's been part of my process. And, it woke me up a little bit to understand that like, this is not something you can just suppress. This is not something you can work through. This is not something that you can work your way out of. Like, you have to actually like tend to your bodily needs and your spiritual needs and your emotional needs. Like all of these things are part of being human. And I think the sad truth is that society in so many ways is pushing us and really trying to force us to be something other than humans, and to really like just ignore and kind of throw away our humanity, sacrifice our humanity for money, frankly, for capitalism. So that's how I feel. That's my process has been very much one of reconnecting with my body to get to that place of, oh, okay, rest is good. That's what happened to me.
Yeah, I just got this vision of law school
Mm,
and
law
the
school.
the legal writing courses, which we're going to take like I think it was every semester during law school, a legal
Yes,
writing course,
yes.
and same professor the entire 3 years, and she always said, "Start with the why." And I'm realizing when you were explaining that, I'm like, the why is, why am I doing that? Why do I feel those expectations? And
Mm,
something that we've talked about so many times, like we have not participated in creating those
hmm
expectations, so why
hmm
are we allowing them to control us?
Yeah. Yeah, and just seeing it for what it is, and then if that's your choice, like free will, like
Absolutely.
do you for sure, but
Yep.
at least acknowledging that like these are subconscious choices, right? Like these are
Yeah.
things that are in our psyche that have been planted, and they were planted by other people, and we have
Hmm.
to decide like for our garden, do we want to uproot that stuff or do we want to keep letting it grow and tending to it?
Yep.
So I feel like, for me in general, um, celebrating the small wins is something that is so much easier said than done, actually. And no, and I love that we're talking about it because, this is something that I personally struggle with, like very much so. And, even on large scales, like, I mean, I don't know, like we bought a building this year with my organization and I was just like, okay, well, I'm going to go sign the paperwork and then, we got to do this and that and the other thing. And people are like, okay, like you're not like happy about this or excited. And I'm like, no, no, I'm excited. But it's like, I, I instantly and immediately like went to the next thing in my head. Like that's already done.
Hmm.
Next, now I got to do this thing. You know what I mean? Like the next thing is this. Like, and I feel like that kind of energy comes from a place where you are running away from something. And these are the tough questions that I've had to ask myself. Like, what am I running away from? Or what am I trying to run towards? Because I am running. Like I sense the urgency. Like, do you feel a sense of like when you stopped and had pug day, that seems like it was like very significant and it gave you a lot of, lessons, or it helped you to feel something that you weren't feeling and embody something that you weren't embodying before. If I may, is that correct?
That is correct. It took a lot of self-talk
Mm-hmm.
to and verbally
Mm-hmm.
to move past the idea that I didn't need to do,
Mm.
1 through 6 on my to-do list today,
Yeah.
or I didn't need to achieve these things in my work life. It was, I understood that if I wanted to be better, do better, I needed to stop.
Yeah.
And it's however I chose to define be better, do better. It's not, let's just say my version of it is not the Nike version of be better, do better.
Yeah. I think I'll speak from my own experience because I don't want to project. But I feel some parallels of what you're saying because for me in my journey, what I realized is like when I started to slow down, first of all, I realized that there was a lot there that I wasn't dealing with. And
Mm.
that was really powerful for me just to acknowledge and understand what I was doing, right?
Were
Like,
did,
hmm
to dig in a little bit there,
hmm
were you feeling like you were substituting these other ideals for
absolutely.
dealing with what you needed to deal with on a personal level? Because in
hmm
your mind, and I don't want to assume, in our minds, we generally think that, X, Y, and Z is what society likes.
hmm
But
No, and it's
and
and it's
it's
actually true
easy to
too.
do that, right? Like
That's,
it's
I
easy to be
mean,
the robot.
I mean, it's not even that we think that. It's that society has told us in every corner of our lives that that's what we should be, what we should do, and what they want us to be and do, right?
Hmm.
Like, I mean, how many parents don't want their children to be the lawyer, for God's
Yep.
sake, the doctor? I mean, like, it's just real. And so this is what I've told people is like, I've had to come to terms with like, why am I taking refuge in my work to this extent where I wake,
Hmm.
like I look up and I realize like I haven't eaten. I'm exhausted. Like, like I'm literally like physically tired. I need to veg out every day because I'm just like working myself to the point of exhaustion. Like what is going on, and I think it sneaks up on you. And that's why I share this because it's like, I wasn't doing it intentionally. I was just like, oh, well, I need to get this done and I need to get that done. And that's important. And that little thing right there is a very tricky little thing. This is important. I think that
Hmm.
this is a place to pay attention because for me, everything at work was important, right? And when everything at work is important, that
Because
means that,
nothing is important.
yeah, nothing
It's
is
all
important,
important.
first of all. And most of all, nothing in the rest of your life is important.
Oh,
Right? Because that you're prioritizing this and only this really at the end of the day. Like when you really like go all the way in on one part of your life, like
hmm,
then the rest of it is sacrificed, right? Like it's just physics. Like it's just the physical, I guess, world.
so real.
I want to
Yes.
say that we are living in, right? And so for me, when I really like took a step back, I think first and foremost, like making time for your healing, I can't recommend enough because and reflection generally, but really like rest and healing, reflection, all of these things need time. It's not something
Hmm.
that you can just know. One of the other things I realized that I kind of attribute to ego now is like, I have my, intelligence where I'm like, oh yeah, I know about all that. Like I studied psychology. I understand something doesn't mean that you're actually doing the thing, right? So
Yeah.
like knowing something in your head and your brain and knowing something in your body are like two wildly different things, right? And so I think, I didn't really understand what the power of rest was until I did it. Until
Did
I really allowed myself to go all the way there, right?
did you, when you decided you needed to rest, was
hmm
it that you realized that you, like,
Nope.
it broke you? Or,
No, no. I was just going to continue going on being, like doing as much as I can with all the broken pieces. Like I didn't know that.
wow.
I literally was just like I had like had little I had started having like little like moments of break where I was like, oh, that wasn't good. That was a bad day, like that
Yeah.
is interesting. Like I noticed I was like completely emotionally exhausted one day and I was just like, I can't, like that. I was like, that's not a good sign. But I still didn't think like, oh, the answer is I need to rest and I need to take care of, me like on a spiritual
Oh,
or physical level even. I like that's not what occurred to me. What occurred to me was like I need to get some of these like people and circumstances out of my way so that I can continue to do my work. Like that was my
oh,
my go-to. That's my strategy, right? Um but at the end of the day, like what I have really like taken away from this whole journey over the last, really just the last year, has been so impactful for me, is that when you sit with yourself in any way that you can, whether it be a pug day, whether it be, a rod on the couch type of day, whether it be like, you're meditating or you're like, I don't know, gardening or whatever it is, wherever you can go to actually like be with yourself.
Yeah.
I think that is, or even just like honestly sleeping. Like I needed a lot of sleep. I had to catch up
Yeah.
before I could even function emotionally and spiritually, if that makes sense. Like it's hard to describe except to say that like I wasn't fully present because my mind, my body, my spirit, like all of it was exhausted, So it's
Mm-hmm.
like I couldn't really be there for myself. So in whatever way you do that, I feel like if we make time and space for that, like your body actually heals itself. It's very powerful.
It is. And
And it really asks us just to rest in order for it to do that.
I found after my pug day that my mind was so clear. Like
Mm.
it was so easy to think. 'Cause I remember the day before thinking,
Hmm.
wow, I'm thinking really slow. Is this how normal people think? I do not like. I reject this reality.
I love it. But it's very real because like
It is.
you get used to the pace, right? You
Mm-hmm.
get used to this pace of I want to call it the rat race, honestly.
Yeah.
Like it feels like, when you're in the pace of the rat race, you have to keep going as fast as you can and you have to go faster than the person next to you,
Mm.
and it's
Oh, it's
like
always a
very
competition. Yep.
it's always a competition, and it's always very much like, how are we going to get to the next bit of cheese?
Yeah.
And, like I think you said it best when you said, I have this to-do list, but do I really, have to do it? I'm paraphrasing, but I mean,
Yeah.
you're basically decided like, no, I don't.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to do
Mm-hmm.
it. And I definitely don't have to do it today. Today is pug day.
Yep.
And that's it. The list will be there tomorrow, right? And so, so many times I have realized in this last year how much the forces of my like exhaustion were completely self-imposed. And I think that has been one of the biggest things of like understanding like, oh, this doesn't have to be the case. But
It's so revolutionary.
yes, and
So, I was thinking we have to be ready to do it, right? Like I needed the day of pug,
mm,
but I don't
hmm
think me of a year ago would have taken a day of pug, even though I'm certain I probably would have needed it back then. And so it's so hard to like get to that point, and I don't want to see everybody break before they
hmm
do. Like I was on a
hmm
break when I was like, what, this is how normal people are? Not in like totally inappropriate things to say. So
Not inappropriate, just, just your natural responses. And now you have seen your growth from that moment. That's awesome.
yes. And I hope everybody sees something or watches something or reads something that makes it okay. Like, I feel like because of all of these like rules that's been imposed on us, that we need to give ourselves permission
Hmm.
to stop and rest. And
Hmm.
I know you've done such a good job with your team and yourself of like denoting those times and protecting them to make sure they happen. And I love that you've added wins to your meeting discussions.
Hmm.
And I know that my habit of journaling
She's a
helps.
journalist, yes.
Oh, let's not. Oh my God, no. Of journaling is
Uh-huh.
so key to like my mental health because it also helps me
Mm.
understand, oh, that person always gets angry in September, which I'm assuming means something in their life always happens in September that they do not like. But when you start seeing those patterns, and I guess it's my math mind, where I notice the patterns in myself and in others, that really
Mhm.
helps me like navigate the waters better.
Mm. Yeah. And I think that's the other thing is actually when you get the rest that you need, you actually become more intuitive because you start connecting with your body. So I was thinking about this
Yeah.
today, like how do we actually get into our bodies? I have been for a long time in my rest and healing era, as y'all
Which
probably
is
know by
amazing.
now, which has been amazing and has been so fruitful. Like, I'm sharing all of my fruits with y'all, and I'm so grateful for them. And I'm starting to, I think, transition maybe into a new era. And that era is more about embodiment and integration. Be-
I love
yeah.
this.
Yeah. Because what I've realized is like, I've been resting and I've been soaking it all in. Like, I've been learning a lot. I've been, contemplating things, but and also like working to work through my emotions and all of that good stuff. Um, but when you embody healing, it and integrate that, all of what you've learned and all of what you've, processed into your body, I think this is the next step for me because I can feel the difference when I do anything really that helps me with embodiment. So for example, this morning, um, I remembered my love of singing. Like, it's just a thing that
Aw.
came this morning. I just like, there was good music on. I started singing to it in the car. And then, just randomly a song that I used to sing came on and I started singing in the house and I felt that embodiment. And I never realized, I used to tell people all the time that like singing for me was like healing or was like therapy somehow, but I didn't really understand why. And now I know it's because like what people call it is embodiment, where you're like really integrating your whole self into something. And singing, it takes a little bit of your mind energy, it takes it takes a lot of your body energy, it takes a lot of your like passion and emotional energy, your spirit body, right? Like, and it combines all of that into this beautiful experience. And so that embodiment is what, is my next kind of like season that I hope to walk into and fully embrace. And I think that just, you know, even having the opportunity to again like reflect and to also like move with intention, like that is a win that I want to celebrate today in my reflection, because this is something that I never used to do for myself. I, in my programming, have always been about serving, really, servant type stuff, serving others in general, like serving their needs, serving their comfort levels, serving their expectations of me. um
Which is so
and
normal for women, right?
of
Like
course, yes,
we learn to placate others so that we don't have to
yes,
deal with the
yeah.
chaos that can ensue if we don't placate others.
And the danger, right? Like,
Oh yeah.
let's not,
Hmm.
let's say what it is, right? Like, we are trying to protect our safety and survive as women in a world that is not safe in a lot of
Yep.
ways. For us, for children, for men, for anybody, honestly. I mean, it's not a safe world, or I guess I should say, like, a lot of people have the experience of not feeling safe even amongst the people who are supposed to, love them and take care of them and all of that good stuff. So even though it's a very, really in my mind, a huge personal win for me, I also want to share that like just making that time in like the morning, for example, I feel like that was like a huge win for me. It might seem small to other people though, like it might seem like a small win, but I don't really qualify wins anymore. They're just wins, like it doesn't have to be big or small or medium. Like it's just a win. Like I started making time for myself on a regular basis. Like that's a win for me. Like, and it has given me so much fruit. And so I just hope that, people will, hopefully hear this and think about in their lives, like, where can they make time for themselves in order to even think about the wins that they are already accomplishing. And frankly, you don't need anyone else's credit. Like, you're impressing yourself, I think, is the best
Hmm.
compliment and the best win, honestly, that's out there anyways. And it feels so good when you honestly feel good about yourself. So yeah.
I heard someone say this week, what would your inner child do? Like
Mm,
what were your inner child's skills and hobbies, and how
mm-hmm,
we let that go? And I
mm,
think, wow, that's really profound, right? Like how did we I guess because we became conscious of the rat race and all the expectations that we let go of like what we
Oh, yeah.
intuitively like and want and are good at.
Well, people are
And it
like, is
does,
that going to make you money? You need a good
oh
job.
my God.
I mean,
Yeah,
literally, like, these are things that people tell kids. What are you going to be when you grow up? I hate when people ask that. I'm sorry. Like, I know it
I
doesn't
agree.
seem like a thing, but like, for me, it's such a thing because I'm like, why are you putting so much pressure on this child? Like, let this child live. My God. Like, they don't need to
Every
be
time,
anything.
every time I hear that, I always also tell the child, you can change your mind at any
That's
time,
exactly what I say. I say you
whether
can
it's the
be
bowl.
everything, nothing, whatever you want,
Yep.
whenever you want. You can be all the things at once. You can change your mind a million times. Like, that's the human experience. Again, it's like the difference in like treating each other as humans versus treating each other as money making machines.
I'm sorry, I had the overwhelming feeling of like just making a gagging noise, which I did not do. So I've now described it
That's
because
great. It's your
it's
natural
so
response. I
true.
love it.
It's so true. Like that's the only value that is given
Mhm.
to anyone. It's like I had this
Mhm.
experience recently with my father who's like, blah, 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 I'm proud of you. But I was more proud of you when I heard
Mm-mm.
somebody very
Nope,
powerful
stop
said
right
that
there.
you were,
Like,
yep,
I'm
yep.
like,
And
stop
I was
right
just
there.
like,
Please don't finish your sentence, Dad. Thank you, but no thank you.
and he did finish his sentence. And I
Mm,
was so proud of myself because I spoke up and I said, it's sentence one that's important. Sentence
yeah,
two totally devalues me. And if your point is
yeah.
to totally devalue me and only find my value because some man in a high
Mm,
power position
mm,
said something positive in public,
mm,
no,
yeah.
no, thank you.
That's not pride. That's your ego, actually. Like, that's
Yeah,
literally your dad's ego being like, you made me, like, pride is such a wild word that's like used in so many ways, but like in this context, he's proud means that, yeah, his ego was stroked by in public. And so you improved his ego somehow indirectly. Like that's has nothing to do with you. It's not a compliment for you. That's about
no,
him. That's just,
absolutely. And it's
yeah.
so infuriating that there are so many people in this world that will give those kind of like backhanded compliments that do more
Mm.
harm than good. And,
But I'm so
shoving
proud
our
of
way.
you. Oh my God.
Thank
I'm
you.
so proud of you for like in that moment. First of all, I think one of the most challenging things for me has and still is to be mindful in the moment of negativity.
And it's so hard because there's so
It's
many
so
emotions.
difficult.
So
It's such a
hard.
test. And for me, it's like my means of survival was like, ooh, I can snap back quick and I can, like we've talked about that. And so I am in such admiration with you that you like took a beat and was like, no, here's what I think about what you just did. I love it. And I also feel like that is the way that we can hold each other accountable more.
It
Like
is.
there's so much unsaid stuff that goes on in these like snarky, backhanded compliments, like you said, that I feel like, especially children, but frankly, all of us, because we're
Mm,
still holding our inner child, right? Like,
yep.
and also we're just humans. We internalize that stuff so fast, and it's just like, like if you let it, it will seep in, and now it's in you.
I
And
would
that's the
go step
negativity that you hear talking to
further
yourself.
and say that not only do if we let it, but it can
Hmm.
happen subconsciously, so we don't even
Yes,
know that we've allowed it.
100%. I think that's how it usually happens. That's what I mean is like if we're not being conscious and aware of like what's really going on and we're not connected to our emotions. So like for me, the thing that changed in those moments, again, I'm still practicing and trying to get where I want to be with this, but for me, the time when I felt a shift was when I first of all like did things to connect myself with myself, which doesn't sound like it makes any sense, but when you're integrating by brain, body, again spirit, like when you really start to connect the dots for yourself and you're actually feeling things, what I realized for me is that like I was doing a lot of disconnecting to protect myself. Right. And so if
Hmm.
somebody like gave me a backhanded compliment or something like that, I would probably like not know what to say in the moment because I would feel some kind of hurt, but I would probably like suppress it enough to where I could just like proceed and at least, get through that to where it didn't hurt as much as it would usually. But now, like feeling my feelings has been a huge win, in that, or a win in general, and that, now that I feel my feelings more often, I can even recognize in that moment that I am being hurt. And then I can actually do what you did sometimes. I want to do it more. But sometimes I will have enough like connection to myself to realize like, oh, that was hurtful. And then let that person know, like, did you mean to hurt me? That actually hurt my feelings. And so that connection piece again for me is like one of the big things that was missing, that I wouldn't even be able to get to where you were in that example without that.
But also what you pointed out was that it was my father's ego. And
Mm-hmm.
every time somebody says something like that to you or to me, it is about them
Mm.
and their trauma and how they view the world. It has absolutely nothing to do with us. But acknowledging that and accepting that and understanding that, whoa,
All in the moment, all in a millisecond,
oh,
really. Like all
yeah,
in a
so hard,
millisecond, right? Like when you're
so hard.
reacting, like this is like some Olympic emotional sports stuff right here, I think. Like
Yes.
you're trying to get to this level of, especially if someone who has like been hurting you probably like that your whole life since you
Mm-hmm.
were literally a child.
Yeah.
Like so triggering, so triggering, right? But one of my favorite sayings right now is just like, that sounds like a youth problem. Like, I just,
100%. Yes.
like my first thought now, I shouldn't say first thought, on a good day, when I'm feeling integrated, when I'm feeling whole, when I'm feeling connected, and when I'm really in tune with my feelings and emotions and my self-worth, whenever someone is acting out in whatever way they want to act out, whether it be like, trying to come and insult me or denigrate my worth or somebody that I love, or just like in the world, like just being nasty and hateful. I mean, that's when I really like lean on that, where I'm like, that sounds like a you problem, because, there's a lot of healing that needs to happen. And I wish healing on all of the people that we would think of as like, you know, our quote unquote enemies. I always say I don't have any enemies, but the people
Agree.
that we think are like just awful,
Yeah.
the people who are doing the most out here and being so hateful, and even the people who are giving us like backhanded compliments and like just saying snarky things or gossiping about us or whatever, like just being ugly in some, way, or being malicious in any way. I always just try to get back to that place where I realize, like you just said, of you know reminding myself that this has nothing to do with me. That's a them issue. They need their healing there, and also it's not my responsibility to heal them.
Isn't that like almost the universal unlock? Is that a you problem? If
Mm,
yes, then
mm. We should make like a little
100%.
diagram. If yes, go to the therapist. If no, please
Yeah.
re-explain. Rephrase,
Yeah.
please.
Right? Like, and I think when we start like scraping out all that stuff that gets dumped on us like that, it helps us to celebrate the small wins because we're not bogged down by all this, I just want to call it junk that other
Mm,
people
the
decide they want to
noise.
dump on you. Yeah.
Yeah. I think of it as kind of like the static in between radio stations when that was a thing,
Hmm.
right? Like
Yeah.
that noise that's really, really irritating in your ears, and it's negative, and it's negative space actually, right? And it's filled with all of this negativity. And so it's all the noise that we have to tune out, and we need to tune into ourselves and our own humanity and our own divinity, right? Like if you really connect with yourself and see yourself for who you are, you realize again that like you were born worthy. You were born perfect and nothing has changed. You're still that person, right? You're still that person worthy of love. You're still that person worthy of healing, of rest. You're worthy of all of these things. And frankly, like capitalism is just telling us that like we have to earn that in order just to have a decent life. And, it is the reality that we live in terms of having to, earn money apparently to take care of our basic needs. But, what I have seen is if you can get to that place of safety, whatever that means for you, um, that's when you can really, start the healing. You can start with rest, you can start with self-reflection, and you can start with the smallest wins in your self-reflection. So I'm just trying to think of a good example of like someone is in the most struggling of the struggles. I remember a time when I was waiting tables, like we did not have a lot of money. I feel like our dinner was like rice and beans sometimes. Like, I mean, it was a struggle financially. And, I remember even then not feeling, I didn't feel sad or upset. I was actually really grateful, that, I had my independence.
Mm-hmm.
I had the little bit of freedom that I wanted at the time. I got to live with the person that I love. And it was just, it was a time where it was like I was working my ass off and, um, I still knew my worth, which I think that's the part where it's like you can just get worn down over time, like when maybe it's one person who takes all your energy. We talked about the energy vampires, which I will never forget. I love it. And maybe it's one person, maybe it's society on the whole, maybe it's your family, maybe it's your partner, maybe it's yourself, you
Oh,
know,
mm-hmm.
wearing you down. But whatever it is, at some point, when you're noticing that like you're feeling exhausted, you're feeling drained, um, I would just say like a small win could literally be even just taking an inventory of where
Oh,
that's coming from, because that has had such a huge impact on my life of just being like, where is all my energy going? Just that is such a huge win. And if you could do that, one time, such a win. If you could do it, in your weekly journaling or something, like, wow, what a win. Like, but just do it for yourself. Like, I mean, literally, if you're listening to this right now, like, just start thinking about like, who are the people in your life that like make you feel amazing and energized and give you life? Like whose energy is doing that for you? What activities, of embodiment are doing that for you? And what tasks, what work, what people are doing the opposite? Like that inventory, I think even just that would be, it was a win for me, and I hope other people will consider doing it too.
and I would like to add, this is your permission to do that, even when it is against everything society or your family or someone else
Hmm.
might have taught you.
Yeah.
It is absolutely okay and necessary to protect your peace, protect your energy, and protect your own personal growth, however you may define it.
Yes. And also, you're worthy of it, right? You're worthy of knowing where your energy is going and deciding where you want your energy to go, right? And being able to have that intention of putting it where it counts for you. This is your life. You get to do whatever you want with it. That's the amazing part. But one of the tricks of the rat race I've noticed is if you're busy, 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 you stay busy, you don't have time to reflect, you don't have time to really set your intention, you don't have time to be mindful about like what is draining you. You don't have time to see where the, oppressive forces are really sitting, or the oppressive people, or like whatever the drains in your life. Um, so yeah, if we can recognize that we're all worthy of using our, free will and consent to put our energy where it aligns with our priorities and values, then it starts to, life starts to harmonize a little bit.
And as we know, I love a good rebellion. And what you were saying said to me, wow, all these people were putting this stuff on us that have
Mm-hmm.
nothing to do with our humanity and who we are. And it's almost as though they want us to be busy so that we don't have the time to reflect and
Almost.
become
It's
our
a
most powerful self. And I'm like,
it's
let's
almost
rebel
like
against
that.
that.
Hell yes. Hell yes. I mean, really, like that's the secret is like, let's look. It's kind of, I always think about this is so silly, such a gamer thing, but like, remember Mario Brothers? Like, if you look at the ghosts, they have to stay still.
Hmm.
I don't know why, but I always think about that in situations like this. I'm like, when you see it, it changes everything, right? Like it takes the power away from it. And so just seeing that today and understanding that, like, again, this is intentional. This is the system is working the way it was designed. Like this is happening not because there's something wrong with you. There's nothing wrong with you. What's wrong is that you're a human living in a system that is not designed for your wellness. So I just hope that y'all know that, we have each other. We're all going through the same thing. If you think you're alone, you're not. And, you are worthy of wellness. You're worthy of healing. You're worthy of giving your energy where you decide it can go. And any last thoughts, Tessa, before we wrap up today?
Yes, we value you for who you are, as you choose to be, not the value that society places on you. We think your value is intrinsic, and we hope that you find a place where you choose your value.
Beautiful. Well, I feel uplifted as always, and I'm wishing you all the same and to carry this uplift with you through your week. And we will see you next time. Take care, everyone.